going to share with you all. Diba, kung last week we talked about the strengths profile, this afternoon we're going to share with you the VIA character strength. So ayan, while waiting for our other participants, kindly let us know where you're calling from what organization are you, because we'd really love to know each and every one of you. So from what I can see, good afternoon from Marisa, Mark, G, John Dominic, ang daming time ko lang nakikita yung pangalan. So we have Severino from PNO. Good afternoon. Meron din tayo from DSWD Field Office Calabarzon. So good afternoon. Meron din tayo from BMMC si Lainey. Meron din tayo from Court of Appeals. Hi, Dino. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We also have Nicole from Field Office Mimaropa. So I'm assuming you're also from DSWD. Good afternoon. If you have friends and colleagues who you think would benefit from this afternoon's topic, kindly tell them we still have a lot of space in our Zoom room. Ayan, and pwede pa silang pumasok sa ating meeting. So Gloria naman is from DOH QMMC. Meron din tayo from Kalahi Sids. I think this is also from DSWD. Hi, Romeo, good afternoon. Meron din tayo from Pag-Gigs. We have a lot of learners joining us this afternoon from different government agencies. Very exciting. Meron naman si Roel from Advanced Solutions. Oh, can you share with us what industry is your company in? Meron din tayo from Rojas City, si Joker. Meron din from Santa Ana Hospital, si Angelita. Meron from Baguio LGU. We also have Maria Cecilia from Task at Imos joining us this afternoon. Meron din from Provincial General Service Office in Cavite Province. So again, a lot from all over the Philippines ang natin this afternoon. Si Therese Angelica, from Palawan. Meron din from Cebu. May nakita ka na bang from Mindanao? Parang wala pa akong nakikita, but I bet there are also some of you joining us this afternoon from all the island groups of the Philippines. So again, good afternoon and thank you for joining us. Ayan, si Doreen daw from Caraga. Si Francis then says good afternoon. So again, thank you for joining us this afternoon. I think it's already to start. So again, if you have friends who want to join colleagues, tell them that they can still enter the meeting room. We still have a lot of room. And ako na yung nagsasabi sa inyo na this strengths framework is one of the frameworks I really apply in my life. And I'm also excited na kahit ginagamit na namin to, I think we're gonna learn a thing or two this afternoon from our resource speaker this afternoon. Ayan, so again, welcome everyone. This afternoon, we're gonna talk about back to basics, beginning with character strengths. And again, we're positive workplaces, and our mission is that we co-create cultures that enhance the well-being of the Filipino workforce. And we believe that we are able to live out that mission through what we call the positivity ripples. And sabi nga namin, it all starts with you. So thank you for investing time, being intentional about your time, di ba? Kasi you can not attend, you can opt not to attend, but all of you are here because we know that you want to invest in yourself so that you can take in all the different positive practices that we have, so that you will be able to apply it to yourself. You're gonna be able to apply it to others as well. And konti-konti makikita nyo na in your cultures that will also be seen, and you will also, di ba, achieve what we call a positive workplaces. Ayan. So I am Gabby. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, I'm Gabby. I'm the Learning and Development Officer of Positive Workplaces. And I'm so happy to be with you this afternoon. So for the month of April, we are talking about strengths coaching for leaders, where all of PW's chief officers will share a strengths framework. So last week, Nikki shared with us the strengths profile, where we saw how we can maximize our energy as a coach leader. And this afternoon, we're going to talk about back to basics, beginning with character strengths using the VIA character strengths profile. And hindi next week, 2 weeks from now, on May 3, 2023, we are going to be talking about enhancing team performance as a strengths coach. And we will see yung Gallup Strengths Finder. So kung alam niyo na yung Gallup Strengths nyo, it will be a good session with John so that you'd know how to share that to your team as well. So before we start, just a few reminders. So we'd love for you to have another device ready, or kung nasa desktop kayo, just be ready to go to another link. So mag-open na kayo ng window, mag-open na kayo ng new tab, para pag nag-open tayo ng Menti later, we get your input. Tapos you can also prepare a pen and paper because I'm pretty sure you will have a lot of notes for this afternoon's discussion. And of course, you also highly encourage engagement with the audience, but please be respectful in the chat as always. And some reminders, the evaluation form will be given at the end of the webinar, and it will be issued only for those in the Zoom room. So again, if you are joining us in YouTube or in any other platform, kindly try to join us here on Zoom so that you will be able to answer that evaluation form and get the certificate afterwards. And don't forget to check 10, yung title, tignan nyo kung tama yung form na sinasagutan nyo. Make sure that you put in the correct email address, because once that you have inputted that, doon automatic isi-send yung certificate nyo. And of course, your name. Because as much as possible, we will not issue editing of names once you have submitted that form. So if you have any questions and concerns about evaluations or certificates, you may email us at engage@positiveworkplaces.org. And of course, we will only be entertaining inquiries regarding those evaluations and certificates up to after 1 week of the event. So make sure na i-check nyo na kung na-receive nyo na yung certificate, so that after a week or before that week reaches, before it reaches a week, ma-check nyo na at makakapag-email na kayo sa amin kung hindi nyo pa siya na-receive. Okay? So, maliwanag ba yung instructions? If maliwanag, can you type in yes in the chat box? Just so I'd know that you guys are still listening. And can you give a heart reaction if you're ready to start this afternoon's discussion? Yan. Okay, so I think we're all ready to start. So this afternoon, we're going to talk about back to basics, beginning with character strengths. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you our resource speaker this afternoon, Jericho Kapinpin. Hi, Gio!
Hi, Gabby. Hello, everybody. A wonderful afternoon po sa ating lahat, no? Hello. Ang dami pong nagpupuso dyan, no? Hello to everybody from all over the Philippines. Kanina nag-run off si Gabby ng mga iba't ibang mga locations kung saan kayo tumatawag from, no? It's so heartwarming for us to know that all of you are joining us here this afternoon, especially on a topic very near and dear to my heart. I also want to give a quick shout out. I saw someone introduce themselves as a fellow coach, so I hope that they're able to enjoy the work that they are able to provide, especially with the context and the framework of strengths coaching. Then, so hopefully this will be very helpful, not just to you, pero sa atin pong lahat, no, sa whether you are a parent, whether you are a leader, lahat po ito nagagamit natin when it comes to maximizing our relationship. So I am very, very excited for all of us to have this beautiful conversation. Okay? So magsimula na po tayo. Welcome po sa ating conversation on beginning with character strengths. Babalik po tayo sa basics. And for this afternoon, we will answer these following questions. Unang-una, aalamin po natin bakit mahalaga na alamin natin yung sarili nating strengths. Right? What's so important about our strengths that we need to understand them. And next, we're going to deepen our understanding on via character strengths. Okay, ano nga ba tong framework na sinasabi ni Gio ng via character strengths when Nikki was able to talk about the strengths profile from last week? We'll get that opportunity to have our conversation about specifically on via character strengths. And on the latter part, we'll take a look into how can you actually use your character strengths to develop your leadership positively. Okay, so it's not just developing your leadership style, but also to make sure that it's in the direction of a positive leadership. So we're going to try to start crafting that experience for you much later on in our how segment. Okay, so yan, para masimulan natin ang conversation natin on bakit nga ba mahalaga to get to know our own strengths. Let me first ask you our very first Menti question. Can you name one quality about yourself? Okay, name one quality about yourself. I would say, I'm an optimist. That's how I usually describe myself to people. It's one of the ways that I can talk about myself. So I just want to check in with everybody. Can you name one quality about yourself? All right. It could be any. Okay? It could be any. Basta yung first thing that comes to your mind, share nyo lang po yun sa ating Mentimeter. Marami pong ways to describe yourself in a quality, right? So, I'll let you decide on that. Okay? So, let me share that screen in a bit. All right. Let's see. All right. Sige. Okay, we're getting a very interesting mix of responses here. Okay, we're getting a very interesting mix of responses here. So, marami nagsasabi, resilient. Okay, meron daw generous. I love that. Someone describing themselves as kind, hardworking, compassionate, positive thinker, patience, fighter, committed, perfectionist. All right. Friendly, stubborn, may nagsasabi stubborn. Okay? Meron dito medyo striking siya actually yung insufficient, no? I hope that you're okay. That is it's quite hard to describe ourselves that way, no? I don't know if you are experiencing some difficulties right now. I hope you extend yourself some self-compassion, no, na we are always enough the way we are. So, ayun. Meron nagsasabi conversationalist, humility, nagpa-persevere daw sila. Meron nag-describe ng sarili nila as themselves. I don't know, Kelly. Kelly share. I don't know if this is our own Kelly, but that is fascinating. People are sharing jolly, funny, consistent, strict to self, empathic. All right. Sige. Interesting. Interesting, no? So marami po rin nagsasabi dito. Okay, patient, compassionate, selfless. I love it. Caring, creative, gold digger, risk taker, music lover. Ayan. So marami pong iba't ibang qualities yung nakikita natin dito. They're very different and very dynamic. And it was just more of a curious experiment for me to see like what people are gonna come up with when they just talk about themselves. So it's like one word, ano po yung papasok sa isipan nyo that you would want to share about yourself. Now, let me ask you, okay? Dun po sa mga sinulat nyo, okay? Whether it is conventional or not, no? Paano niyo po nakikita yung shinare nyo kanina? yung mga descriptions nyo, no? Na would you say that they're more strength? Would you say that they're more weakness? Okay? So, yeah, from how I'm seeing it, 'di ba? Marami sa atin nag-share na merong strength na binabanggit. Marami yung nagbanggit na positive yung qualities na shinare nila. Hindi po ba? Na, oh, I am very much like this person, a jolly person, right? I am a resilient person. I'm a compassionate person. These are positive qualities that we aspire for. So I'm not surprised. Hindi ba? Okay. Tapos meron naman na nagsasabi, may mga iba na nag-share, no, na, I think it's easier for me to bring up something na I feel like is a weakness. Okay? And they're just being honest about themselves. Wala namang pumali doon. But definitely, we want to acknowledge people sharing that, some of them are thinking na, okay, weakness nga naman yung binabahagi ko. Right? So again, we're still on the same Mentimeter po, no? So mga baka hindi nakakasunod, we just move on to the same question, to the same Mentimeter link. And I presented to you with the next question. Okay, so again, it's strength versus weakness. We're seeing that majority of you shared the strength and there were some who shared a weakness. Okay, so tuloy lang po tayo sa ating Mentimeter questions. This is fascinating so far. Yung next question ko ngayon is, how would you define weakness? Right? How would you define weakness? Diba? Marami po sa atin natuto na ng iba't ibang ways to describe or talk about weakness. So I'm really curious, what is coming up for you as, as we talk about weakness? How would we define it? Okay? Ayan. Ayan. All right. So we're already seeing a lot of very, very strong definitions of weakness. No, ironically, pero strong in a sense na very baka yung iba sa inyo na merong sort of pull of emotion yung dinidescribe nyo na weakness, right? So we're seeing from chat itself, no, may nagsasabi, no, needs improvement, flaws, negative in everything, right? And meron yung nagsasabi na shortcomings daw, room for improvement, a strength that is not utilized properly, very interesting, okay? Ito sabi daw, when it hinders you to achieve your success, it's a lesson, it's an action that results to failures, something you're not good at. It holds you back daw, something that you're not good at, roadblock, something that could affect your handling situations, challenges, all right? Stress, interesting. Making you empty, very interesting as well. Insecurities, fear to try something, sabi sa chat. May mga iba talaga na sobrang optimistic nung description nila. Strength in the making. I love that. Things you cannot resist. I think some of you are also bringing in yung lesson from what Nikki shared last week. Nasabi, yung iba nagsasabi, baka these are areas where you feel empty when you use them. I think that's very fascinating that some of you are using that connection then. Okay, something not good at, internal saboteur, blind spot, no? Very, very interesting. Very interesting mix. Okay. Sige. Ngayon, na question ko, syempre kung nagtanong ako ng weakness, ano naman po kaya ang strength? How would you define it? Let's see how contrasting your definitions are of weakness and strength. Sige. Ayan. So, right off the bat, Lisa was able to share, no, asset niya daw yan. Confident. Very confident, diba? Asset ko to. I have it. I definitely have it. Let's see other responses here. Something to improve on. I think that might be a remnant of the weakness Menti question. Characteristics that lead to opportunity to success. My power. something you feel about yourself, where you're good at. Ayan, marami nagsasabi, power, power. This is, I love that. No, I love that as a word, power. Confidence, areas where we're confident. Ito pa nga, werong weapon. Okay, so strength is something you can already share with those who need it, something not to be arrogant about, but used to contribute others. I love that as well. Being able to do what needs to be done. Okay. Gift from God, something you can do well. Influence to fellow staff. Ito sabi ni Noemi, something where we shine, achievement or achiever, something I'm proud of myself, having courage on it. Ayan. So, parang may common themes na lumalabas when I talk about strength, di ba? We associate that with power, we associate that with confidence, we associate that with skill, assets, capacities, di ba? Very interesting yung dynamic. Okay? So, bakit ko nga ba 'to, bakit ko 'to binungad sa inyo lahat? Why is this the first part of our conversation? And, it's very interesting because, truly 'no, the experience that we have as we always talk about ourselves, 'di ba, kung sino ba tayo, we're always wrestling with a lot of considerations, hindi ba? On a physical level, we have ways to describe ourselves, 'di ba? Filipino, yung kulay ng balat natin, yung mga style natin, kung anong edad na tayo. These are ways that we describe ourselves. But there are also other dynamics in which we describe ourselves. We talk about our schools, we talk about our backgrounds, kung saan tayo lumaki, yung mga probinsya natin, kung meron man, no? There are many dynamics that we talk about ourselves, and other spaces that we also have to contend with when we talk about ourselves are weakness versus strength. Hindi ba? Pinag-uusapan natin yan, no? When you're applying for a job interview, you're always asked, oh, can you talk to me about your weakness? Can you talk to me about your strength? Sino ka? And when we're creating CVs, we're almost listing out every strength that we want. Diba? Who wants to talk about weakness? We just shared ano nga ba yung definition nyo ng weakness. Hindi ba? Marami nagsabi na it's something that we're not good at. It's an area where we feel empty. We don't do well in it. Di ba? It's a flaw, it's a shortcoming. Marami tayong na-attach na beliefs with when we describe weakness. And then in contrast with strengths, we talk about how it's power, how it's confident, right? So inherently, we know that there are things about weakness that we see as negative, and there are things about strength that we see positive. And let me just break it down a little bit more in the themes that we're noticing from your responses. So when we talk about weaknesses, we commonly associate it with disadvantages, what we don't do well. Pero meron din mga nagsasabi no, na merong chance to improve upon this. So these are points for improvement. All right? But I would actually push this a little further and say na maybe it's those things that are not so good in us. Diba? We can describe that as well. But there's also that recognition na dahil mga social beings tayo, we can also associate weakness as those that yung areas na kailangan natin ng support from others. Hindi ba? Alam na alam natin to sa school. O ikaw na yung magaling dyan sa subject na yan. Ikaw nang gumawa niyan sa group project natin. Ito yung expertise ko, ito yung galing ko, dito na ako. Right? Commonly, we don't want to work in operation with our weakness because, again, it's a flaw, it's a shortcoming. Doon tayo doon tayo napupuna. It leaves us empty when we practice those. And so we try to find ways where we can gain support from others, especially through the areas of our weakness. Now, in contrast, syempre, yung strengths natin, no, there are advantages. We do them so well. There are areas of excellence. We are confident. We have power in that. And we get to talk about what's best in us. And if anything, di ba, when it is our strength, ito yung naaalok natin sa ibang tao. Hindi ba? This is the opportunity where we get to come forward to someone and say, hey, I can help you in that. I feel confident in that. I know that I have skill in that department. So I'll happily offer my assistance to you. Right? So the question is, sino ba talaga tayo when we're talking about these differences? Are we just our weaknesses or are we just our strengths? Diba? Maybe you can share with me sa chat, ano sa tingin niyo? Are we our weaknesses? Are we our strengths? Diba? Or are we both? Hindi ba? Right. Yan. Right. Exactly. Diba? We have to make sense of that. We have to make sense of that in both levels. And what we've typically experienced, diba, is if we were not having conversations about strengths, no, maybe in the workplace, in our relationships, hindi po ba mas common sa atin na pinupo na tayo sa mga weaknesses natin? Diba? Typically when we're given feedback, the experience is, here's what you need to improve on. Ito yung mga kailangan mo pa maganahin. Ito pa yung kailangan mong i-improve. Dito ka medyo nagkulang. Taas po ng kamay if that's a common experience that they have. No, if you feel like that's totally true, 'di ba? Na ang daming beses na despite how many times you talk about it, na we are both strengths and weaknesses, mas madali po sa atin makatanggap ng truth about ourselves in the department of weakness. 'Di ba? 'Di ba? It's fascinating. And even if you are talking to someone, when you're trying to give feedback, it is a lot easier for us na pumuna. Hindi ba? This is what we found throughout the study of positive psychology then, na mas marami po sa atin na madaling makaisip ng weakness. And we even contend with the fact that, strength ba talaga yung meron ako? Strength ba talaga yung meron ako? Right? I heard some people say na, some of their strengths are also seen as weakness. Yung pagiging masyadong mabait, yung pagiging masyadong mapagpatawad, someone who's too analytical and never does action, right? There's always merong reading into it na kahit yung kung saan yung areas na magaling tayo, pinupo na din para maging, I think you have to work on that. I think you have to operate on that. But again, as all of you have described, lahat po tayo, di ba? We are both our strengths and weaknesses. But let me just dig a little deeper since our conversation is on strengths. Ano nga ba yung value ng strengths sa atin? Okay? So Christopher Peterson, one of the founding advocates and proponents of positive psychology, says na if positive psychology teaches us anything, it is that all of us are a mixture of our strengths and weaknesses. Katulad ng maraming sinasabi niyo. And no one has it all. Pero importante din pong isipin natin na no one lacks it all. So someone who was sharing kanina na they're feeling very insufficient, I hope that this quote is able to change your mind, because the reality is we do not lack everything. There's always something that we are able to contribute. There's always something there that we are able to support others in. So it's always a mixture. No one has it all and no one lacks it all. But when we have it, what does that actually look like? Diba? So when yan. So Doreen, so thank you so much for being so vulnerable with us and sharing your experience right now. I understand na you are very that at this point in time, you are feeling quite lost. And to be fair, I think that a lot of people will feel that way as well. Na there's a very different situation that we're facing in right now. In the past 2 years, ang dami po natin pinagdaanan. Diba? We've teetered from pandemic, hindi na pandemic, balik sa work, panibagong administration, panibagong economic environment sa Pilipinas. There's so many things that that are coming out to us. And bukod pa yon sa pang-araw-araw na challenges and stresses ng buhay natin. So I believe you're not the only one who is feeling lost in life at this moment. But hopefully there's something that can inspire you and draw support for you within this conversation. So ang nangyayari po is whenever we use our strengths, 'di ba? Ito sinabi niyo na 'to, it gives you confidence, it gives you power. Nakikita niyo yung skill set niyo doon, right? And it's not going to be surprising because whenever we use our strengths, typically we excel in the task, hindi ba? Ang dali ng trabaho kasi strength nga natin eh. Kaya nga natin gusto gawin kasi madali, 'di ba? It's a lot easier for us to commit to. The task is enjoyable and it is energizing. Imagine that. Imagine that your work was built on your strengths. Diba? But the reality is it's not. But diba? Imagine for a second na yung trabaho nyo built on your strengths. Diba? Ilang promotions kaya yung makukuha natin. Diba? We are able to excel in our task. Ang dali ng trabaho natin. Na-enjoy pa natin yung trabaho. It's very energizing. So, this is the reality of whenever we use our strengths. And what happens is, the following benefits come to life. Number one, yung paggamit ng strengths natin are essentially yung keys o yung mga susi para ma-enjoy natin yung buhay natin or to live a good life. Because number one, living a good life is not just about happiness. And maybe for some of you, you've already had this conversation with our well-being topics, no? Na hindi lang naman po pagiging masarap ang buhay yung hinahabol natin. Gusto din natin yung meron tayong napaghihirapan but also the sense of accomplishing. So whenever we're using our strengths, we're able to use the best of our abilities to transform our environment. Hindi ba? Whenever we're using strengths, we're able to use our tactical skill set, our compassion for others. We're able to use our leadership, no, and to transform and to feel competent in our abilities. Nagkakaroon tayo ng sense of gratification. Meron pala akong contribution. Meron pala akong accomplishment. Right? That's how strengths show up. And because powerful yung dating natin, we're confident, we're able to support others with it, hindi rin surprising na it becomes a path for us to have good relationships and to have good work, right? Again, if we were to take a look at our example, when you use your strength, you excel in the task, work becomes easy, it's enjoyable, you're energized. It's not surprising then, no, that whenever we are navigating our relationships or our workplaces, tapos nagagamit natin yung strength, di ba? Definitely it will build that up. People will approach us and ask about kung saan tayo magaling. Pwede mo ba akong supportahan dito? Because I feel I need support here. 'Di ba? And syempre, kung nakakatulong tayo sa iba, nakaka-build yun ng relationship. Right? So, using strengths allows us to have good relationships and good work. Another part is, of course, this enhances the search for a meaningful life and the quest for happiness. The gratification is there, but definitely when we're able to identify na when we live life through our strengths, hindi ba mas nadali nating makita na, oh, this makes life worth living because being myself allows me to contribute wonderfully to my community, to my country, no, to my loved ones if mas maliit yung scope yung impact na gusto nating makamit, and that definitely will contribute to our happiness. And so what they were able to see is now strengths can become a predictor of our well-being. Ito yung pinakapunto, no, na hindi lang yung strengths natin hindi lang siya para sa confidence and power natin so that we can effectively transform our world for the better. But at the end of the day, this is a very personal endeavor as well. Whenever we use our strengths, nakakabawas po to ng stress. Because again, work becomes easy, we enjoy tasks, right? And kung nagagawa natin yung mga trabaho natin in a performance, at a high performance, and we're able to enjoy that, we're able to gain self-esteem, no? Na-experience natin yung saya na ang sarap pala magtrabaho, right? And we know this to be true whenever we're using our strengths at work, whenever we get a chance to use the best of our abilities. Yung mga mahilig tumugtog, tapos binibigyan tayo ng opportunity magtumugtog para sa iba. 'Di ba? Nararamdaman niyo yung saya ng connection. And I think it's the same thing na our strengths are instruments for us to play for others. Whenever we use our strength of compassion, whenever we use our strength of patience, when we use our strength of resilience, these are all ways for us to enact on our abilities to impact our environment and others wonderfully. And so, we also see the pattern to continue na tumataas yung coping resources ng mga tao whenever they're using strengths. And syempre, hindi rin nakakagulat sa atin. We're able to improve our motivation and task performance. Okay? So to cap this off, the reason why it's so important for us to talk about strengths and to really focus intentionally on strengths is that kahit anong gawin natin, the modern day calls us to no longer just ignore what's good in us and what's best in us, because we've done that for so long. Diba? We want to be able to focus on strength as much as on weakness. Okay? That's what we already agreed on a while ago. But we also are interested in building the best things in life just as much as repairing the worst. Diba? Kung ano yung magpapaganda ng buhay natin, magpapaganda sa buhay ng iba, gawin natin yon, because it is not just, kasing importante lang din yan na pwede nating baguhin yung sarili natin. Diba? We talk about, we want to improve ourselves for the better. Right? We always want to do that, but we can also invest on our assets. And of course, we want to be concerned with fulfilling the lives of people, not just trying to heal the wounds of yung mga naghihirap. So we have to have that balance in our perspective in the world. Whenever we're navigating life, it is not just about ano nga ba yung kailangan ko pang improve, ano pa ba yung kulang ko. Balansehin po natin yan. No, and I always talk about this, and I love sharing this. No, the most positive thing we can do for people is to allow them to be human, and being human means that we are both strong and we are both weak. So let us allow ourselves to feel the weakness and recognize where we are lacking. Pero wag po nating kalimutan na meron din tayong capabilities, may strengths tayo. There are areas in our life where we feel confident, where we feel powerful, and we are both. We are both. We can.
Okay, so I think Gio's just experiencing technical difficulty. Let's wait for him to get back. So I think pwede nyo i-share, what are you taking away so far from what we're discussing? So ano po ang mga nagiging takeaway nyo ngayon so far dun sa why part ng ating discussion? So let's just give Gio a minute to reconnect. And while we're waiting for him to reconnect, you can share with us what your insights are so far about what we've talked about. Yan, so I think what I can see in the chat box, Doreen says na Sherry says, embrace and celebrate our strength. That's so true. Diba parang in our culture, mas madalas na po point out natin what we lack, what we're not good at. So it's actually a breath of fresh air na we hear these things, na there is actually some good in us. Ayan. Tapos we can also see na no one has everything and no one has nothing. Sabi din ni Michael, having strength makes you excel in your workplace. That's so true. Diba parang kapag nasa workplace tayo, I hope na a lot of you na kikita din ng mga ka-workmates nyo and even your superiors what you are good at and not just what you lack. Pero alam mo yun, equal siya na they point out what you need to improve on, but all the more they also celebrate what you bring in the company. Si John Dominic naman, strengths and weaknesses can be a mindset. Si Precious naman ang sabi, to know yourself is to know your strengths and weaknesses. That's so true. It's a healthy balance of both. Si Francis naman ang sabi niya, acknowledge it, that we always have both strengths and weaknesses. Si Janelle naman ang sabi niya, we can get a good relationship. Ayan. And good work when we use our strengths. Yes. Tapos si Criselda din, knowing our strengths and weaknesses more, we can help others too. That's so true. Si Rosemary naman, our strengths enable us to impact our environment and others wonderfully. Ayan. So it's really a healthy balance of knowing both what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and hindi dapat may isang lumalamang. Or kung may lumamang man, I think it's better that we also focus on what we are good at, our natural inclinations. Ayan. So I think we have Gio back. So Gio, I just asked them what their insights are as far as the why part of our discussion is concerned. And I'm really, really very happy that they're taking in a lot from your discussion. Ayan.
All right. Hello. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Naisip lang po ng computer ko mag-well-being break po kayo. So hopefully that has afforded you some time to, decompress and absorb what it is that we were just talking about. But thank you so much, Gabby, for holding space for our people to process all of that. And yun nga no, na I love that all of you are moving forward with that. Buti na lang naputol po tayo sa transition. No, and it does not disrupt our flow too much. So let me share my screen, Gabby, and I'll get back on continuing our conversation. Ayan po. So sorry again for that. I was not expecting my internet and Zoom to crash together. Okay, ayan. So alamin na po natin kung ano ang VIA character strengths. Okay? And I don't know if you some of you have already had a chance to look at VIA character strengths, but I'll give you a moment to sort of appreciate that a little bit. No? Ito po yung iba't ibang character strengths na meron sa VIA character strengths. We have appreciation of beauty and excellence, bravery, creativity, curiosity, kindness, leadership, love of learning, fairness, forgiveness, gratitude, honesty, perseverance, perspective, prudence, and self-regulation, hope, humility, humor, judgment, social intelligence, spirituality, teamwork, and zest. Okay, so my first question is, dun po sa inyo, is this your first time hearing about VIA character strengths? I'd just love to know. Okay? Let me share my screen on that one. Ayan. Ayan, yes po. Ayan. Is this your first time? Okay, so marami po nagsasabi na it is their first time to hear about character strengths. Okay? So, narinig niyo yung iba't ibang mga character strengths, na, di ba? Hope, humility, judgment, whatnot. Okay? So, mukha namang at least I'll get to spend a little bit more time sort of unpacking this group of strengths for you. So I want to make sure to honor that for a lot of you first time hearing it. But I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Okay? Nung nakita niyo po yung mga strengths na nakalista dun sa VIA character strengths, no? Yung appreciation of beauty and excellence, humor, humility, perseverance, self-prudence, no? Judgment, perspective, forgiveness, fairness, love, all of these different strengths. Ayan. Ano po yung una niyong naging reaction? Hmm, 'yan. Okay. Alright. So, we're getting varied responses, 'no? So, someone is sharing na, iba-iba yung mga strengths na nandun. And then may iba nagsasabi naman na, parang ang dami pala nating opportunities na we can be good at. Ayan, 'no? People are sharing their very positive qualities about characters. Ayan, and then someone is sharing character traits. Ayan, sabi nung isa daw, "Not descriptive of me." Not descriptive of me. So any of these are not descriptive of you. You're seeing that disconnection. I would love to parang get in on that curiosity. And because katulad nga nung sinabi ng mga inputs dito, no, there are character traits and there are many opportunities for us to be good at. And so it is quite surprising to hear na you're feeling that none of them are descriptive of you. Ayan. Ayan, they are very much valued, 'di ba? They're valued. Ah, yan. Ito, very interesting 'to. I can relate only to some as strength. Parang strength ba talaga 'yon? Hindi ba? Strength ba talaga 'yon? Alright. Surprised, no? Definitely cute and interesting, no? Also a very real, I would acknowledge this, no? Parang merong pagka-cute, cheesy, lofty, ayan, sabi ng isa, happy to see some of my strengths. May mga iba nagsasabi, questioning my strengths. Ayan, many choices to identify myself with pala, surprised, no? Yun, ayan, new tattoo idea. Suporta ako diyan. No, wala pong problema diyan. Anyone can excel. I love that. So, no, so we're seeing very varied responses, but I want to acknowledge the ones that are parang also finding some contradiction to what they've already ascribed to strengths. Some are saying na medyo surprising, no? It might be surprising good, but it can also be surprising where you're not quite sure what to make of it because yun nga, you might be like this person na nagsasabi na parang yung iba lang dito yung pwedeng masabing strength, 'di ba? Maybe some of you are feeling that way. And yun nga 'no, may iba siguro nagsasabi na, is this really descriptive of strengths, especially my strengths, right? So we're seeing that disconnect. So let me now clarify for you, ano nga ba ang VIA character strength? So you get a deeper appreciation of the results here. Okay? So when we talk about VIA character strengths, no, it is a strengths assessment tool. Katulad lang po ng strengths profile na pinakita ni Nikki last week. It is a test where you take it online and you're able to reveal, okay, yung ranking nyo po nung 24 character strengths na yan. And you will have signature strengths at the top, meaning your most practiced strengths, they're probably at the top. So out of the 24, alin po dun yung pinaka-top nyo? Now, when someone said na it is not descriptive of them, I actually will honor that and say na, it's quite common that happens because character strengths can be very varied in display. No, parang baka hindi typical yung expression natin na yun. But what the research also shares is that all 24 character strengths appear in us in varying degrees. Meaning, merong pong character strengths na mas angat po sa practice natin more than others, right? If we take a look at that, no? Out of these 24, we will prioritize only some of them bilang individual differences natin yan, bilang personality natin yan. We will prioritize different things in life. And so every person will have a different ranking of these 24. Kung paano nagkakaiba-iba yung ranking nila, yun yung nagbabago din sa expression nila. All right? Let me give you some clarity on that a little bit. But at least for now, no, that's the first appreciation of that. You have all 24. It's just in varying degrees. The ones at the bottom will be the ones that you don't practice as much or you barely practice at all. Next. So yung rankings po na yan, they are based on the thoughts and behaviors you see in yourself. Okay? They are thoughts and behaviors you see in yourself. And kapag sinabi po natin yung character strengths na nakalista yung 24, they're actually corresponding to observable qualities that we exemplify one's values in action. Kaya po siya via. Kaya po siya via character strengths because they are values in action. We can see they are positive qualities, they are valued qualities, and we can actually enact on them. No-observe natin siyang nagagawa. Okay? Yan. Yes, Laurabelle, it is actually free to take the VIA character strengths, but hold your horses. No, hindi, wag mo muna natin sagutan yan. I want your attention here with me now. I'll happily send you the link later when we get the chance. Kasama po yan sa presentation ko. I'll share with you the link. We can talk about it later then. But yes, it's definitely free. So kung mawawalan po kayo ng interest kasi hindi ko naman matitake yan, then don't worry about it. You're able to actually take via character strengths. No, it helps you again with another language of strengths. Okay, so again, in my what I was talking about now is that they are values na ine-enact po natin. They are observable behaviors for us. So an example of this is, okay, yung tanong na I always examine both sides of an issue. This shows that we have judgment or yung critical thinking ability. Yung I am never too busy to help a friend. Value, okay, na of kindness. I am very good at leading group activities. This is the value for leadership. I always go out of my way to attend educational events. A value for love of learning. So you see that our values, no, kung ano yung pinapahalaga natin sa buhay, na-enact natin, we actually take action on them. And so we are able to say na yung character strengths natin, they rank in certain order. So if you want to talk about who you are and who you value as your, ano yung values nyo as a person, via character strengths can reveal to us our most positive qualities and most positive values in life. Okay? Ayan. So ito example po to ng result. This is my personal result. These are the 5 of my my top signature strengths. I have love, I have fairness, I have judgment, I have forgiveness and perspective. And siguro habang binabasa nyo to, no? Love, valuing close relations with others, in particular those in which sharing and caring are reciprocated, being close to people. Fairness, judgment, forgiveness, okay? Forgiveness, forgiving those who have done wrong, accepting others' shortcomings, giving people a second chance, not being vengeful. Diba? May sense yung sinasabi ng iba na nakakagulat naman na strength to. Pwede ba talaga nating i-relate to as strength? Right? Diba? Na, I see. Actually, I'm curious. I'm very curious. You can maybe chat or react. Sino po sa inyo naniniwala na forgiveness is a strength? No? Raise of hands or kahit heart reaction, no? Who here sees that forgiveness is a strength? Ayan. Limited, right? Limited. It's not all the time that we actually accept na, strength pa talaga yun? May mga iiba, no? Pero, yan, we're seeing a lot more people react. I love that, no? Pero, ayan, nakikita natin na hindi rin siya as easily acceptable for others na strength talaga siya. Okay? And that's okay. And so we'll get to take a look at all of these in a little bit. So, ang nangyayari, again, is that we are revealed with our top signature strengths. Again, you have your top 24, you have your 24 ranked in order from 1 to 24. Yung nasa taas po yung listahan na yun, these are what we call the signature strengths. It is what is natural within us. These are the core elements of who we are. Sino ba talaga tayo? No? So kung kikilalanin niyo ako, you would know that I am a person of love. I am a person of fairness. I value being able to think critically. I value forgiveness. I value perspective. Being able to think about the world in a wider lens. Ito po yung mga values ko as a person. Yan. Yan. Okay. Ang ganda po ng mga sinashare nung sinasabi nila na bakit siya strength daw. Okay. Yan. Okay, so yes, no, so these are the core elements of who we are, and ito yung typically yung mga dinidescribe sa atin ng mga malapit sa atin sa buhay, no? I wouldn't be surprised where if other people in my life think that I'm a very forgiving person. I want them to think I'm a very forgiving person because it is my value. It is close to who I am. It is very much natural within me. And ito yung very interesting conversation dito na parang the mix of our signature strengths are our superpowers and it makes us uniquely us. 'Di ba? For me to be able to have the combination of critical thinking, judgment, and then to also have forgiveness and love at the same time, it is an interesting mix, hindi po ba? Parang pag pinagtagpi-tagpi yan, ano yung parang ano yung naluluto nun, ano yung kilalabasan nun ng iba't ibang sangkap na yan. Yan. All right. So let's now try to address some of the concerns that you might be thinking about via signature strengths. Because, di ba, may mga nagsabi na, I'm not sure I can relate them with strengths. I'm not sure I can see these as strengths. I'm not sure if yan ba talaga ako if I get the results. So whenever you take the test and you see your signature strengths, these are typically what happens in our reactions. No, una there is this tendency to undervalue the strength that we experience. Okay, ina-undervalue natin, meaning hindi natin ina-appreciate for what it is. Some of us are able to give value to that, no? Na, 'di ba? It makes sense that forgiveness is a strength. But some people might think of it as, apak-apakan lang naman tayo pag masyado tayo mapagpatawad. When we are kind, we are allowing others to take advantage of us. When we are critical, we do not take action as much, 'di ba? Yan, exactly. Overvaluing of strengths might also happen. Exactly, 'di ba? But typically, I actually don't. I believe that there is more benefit to overvaluing than undervaluing because we can give importance to strengths, but it is the question of are they always applicable in every situation, and that is a different conversation altogether. But we're going to get to that in harming others with our strengths. Okay, yeah, and desiring other strengths. Okay. So unang-una, let me address this, no, uh undervaluing strengths, undervaluing our signature strengths. So maybe show of hands lang po. Meron na po bang sa inyo nakapanood or have seen the movie Brother Bear? Show of hands, heart reaction sa ating chat. You can also heart react, you can thumbs up. Meron na po bang nakapanood ng Brother Bear? Okay, so merong nag-down, okay, not yet, alright. So merong iba na yes, alright, okay. So we have an interesting mix. So let me just tell you the quick story here, not just an overview, but not really to spoil anything. So the story goes where there are three brothers and they are part of a tribe that value that yung at a certain age they are assigned a totem, an animal totem that shows the kind of strength that they are parang to use them or parang yung value that they will practice once they turn to an adult. Okay? So for example, yung eagle, it was awarded to yung pinakakuya, no, yung nasa gitna. Siya yung eagle of guidance. And then another brother, yung nasa kanan, no, the one close to the brother bear sign, he was given the wolf of wisdom. All right? And yung pinakabunsong kapatid, binigyan siya nung when he came of age, he was given now the bear of love. The bear of love. Okay? So ito yung kwento nila, no, that they were able to be their elder, no, yung elder sa kanilang tribe gave them all each a specific parang totem to showcase the value that they're able to provide for their tribe, no. So yung nangyari was this person who received yung bear of love actually felt na strength ba yan? Katulad nung siguro iba sa inyo na nakaka-relate, no, na I don't think that's a strength. I don't think we can actually call that as a strength. It feels weird. It feels mushy. It's so cheesy. It's quite cute and interesting, but not yung very head level na, oh, we value pagiging matalino, 'di ba? Pero bakit we value people who radiate love, parang ganyan, no? So this person took on that belief of meron tayong strength na hindi natin na-appreciate for what it is, no? He went out to kill a bear in the movie. And what happened was parang by the play of spirits, transform siya into a bear. And dun niya na-realize kung ano pala ibig sabihin ng love when he transformed himself to that opportunity na, okay, now I have to see others practice love and I have to embrace how I love as a person. So what happened is that whenever we're discovering our strengths and you are shown your signature strength, it might be weird to see na, strength ko ba yan? Hindi naman yan akin eh. Or you suddenly realize na, I don't think I value that. There's always that opportunity na we might not understand why we practice that in the first place, or that we have a different notion of what that word means and how we actually practice it, no? So parang naging contrasting na paano how can I be a person of love, and how can I lead and how can I make an impact with love? 'Di ba? What is the true value of love if not just for the mushy feeling of reaction, but nakita niya nung person na to na, oh, there's actually value to love. There's an actual value to being able to be of support to others. There's a value to being able to form close relationships. And just like you said, no, may mga tao na nagsabi na, being able to experience forgiveness is such a strong thing. Ayan, sabi ni Doreen, for someone who's experienced immense trauma, love is actually something hard to do. Kaya it's so beautiful when someone knows how to love or chooses to love. Right? We get the opportunity to appreciate the strengths that we have. So, if you are taking the test, my first invitation for you is be curious with your signature strengths. Kung ano pa mo po makuha yung result, try to learn about it. Try to absorb what does it actually mean to be this type of strength. Okay? Huwag po muna nating i-judge na, pag sinabing self-regulation, puro lang pagtitimpi, puro pagsa-self-discipline. It might not just be that. Okay? Pag sinabi nating humor, puro, I don't take anything seriously. Right? I don't take anything seriously. I'm just finding things to be funny. Diba? But that also translates to being able to uplift others so that we're not so serious in life. And napakalaking value na, hindi ba? Bilang mga Pilipino, alam natin kung gaano ka importanteng tumawa. Relax ka lang, wag mo lang seryosohin yung sarili mo, right? These are things that we know are very important because there is value to that. So, whenever you receive the signature strengths, again, my invitation is for you to stay curious first with the signature strength. Next, harming others with our strengths. Okay? So, maybe there were opportunities na napagsabihan na tayo na, uy, masyado kang mapagpatawad, kailangan niya ring matuto. Diba? Nasabihan na tayo na, I think you're too critical. It doesn't help us anymore create action. Masyado ka namang masyadong mapagmataas yung viewpoint mo. Kailangan ba talagang ganyang kalawak yung i-consider natin sa panahon ngayon? Maybe we're also like, masyado kang reliant sa team mo, right? So no matter what happens is that there is the tendency to use our strengths in a wrong way. Okay? So yun yung sinasabi dito na we might overvalue the strength. And so one of the parang ito yung mga pinakamadaling examples natin that we know na the common hero always has the responsibility. No, na nung namatay si Uncle Ben for Spider-Man, we know this great line. With great power comes great responsibility. And if we associate strength with power, there is actually a responsibility for us to hone in our strength. Diba? We know, we've witnessed Spider-Man take on two different characteristics. He uses power to avenge and be hateful, no? Na parang kailangan kong gumante, kailangan kong bumawi sa uncle ko. But also, there is a side of him where he can self-sacrifice and put himself in harm's way to save others. So, the reality of our strengths and our abilities is that meron pong optimal way para gamitin yung ating strengths. Okay? Let me show you this example. So, typically when we talk about underuse, optimal use, and overuse of strengths, dito natin siya nakikita. Okay? Sabayan niyo po ako a little bit here. When we talk about honesty, diba? We value honesty and there's nothing wrong about being honest. But when we overvalue honesty in every situation, okay? Ang nangyayari po dyan is nagiging self-righteous tayo. Masyado tayong bastos. Diba? Sinasabi ko lang naman yung totoo. But does it actually do you have to say what's true at that moment? Right? Do you value honesty so much that you're willing to tear relationships apart? Okay? Merong overuse yan. So, obviously, the optimal use here is you're able to be true to yourself, you're able to be sincere to others, no? Pero wag din po yung hindi natin ipapractice yan at all. So typically what happens when we have strengths at the bottom of our list, we have underused them. Hindi natin sila na-value. Okay? Another example here, kindness, no? When we practice kindness, we know that to be caring, compassionate, and friendly. But when we are always being kind to people, masyado tayong intrusive or overly focused on others. Diba? We're going to try to help others when they don't actually want help. They want to learn. They want to be able to handle things on themselves because, diba? People are allowed to feel that way. People are allowed to feel that they are capable by themselves. And so, by pushing our kindness to others, we might be intrusive dun sa mga ginagawa nila. Okay? There's also teamwork. Diba? We want to be able to be participative, loyal, and collaborative. But when we practice that too much, it also builds dependence and loss of individuality. Wala nang pagkakataon maging individual yung mga teammates natin. Okay? If we do not practice teamwork at all, there is self-serving individual and we become individualistic. So we know the reality then that there is a balance to all of this. There is a balance to all of this. Okay? And finally, okay? So yun po, no? Find an optimal way to utilize your strengths. Finally, it is so important for us that whenever we're talking also about signature strengths, we've done the homework to be curious. Tapos nun, sinubukan na nating hanapin yung ways to optimally use those signature strengths. At the end of the day, when we talk about values that we want to take action on, okay, you're free to own the strengths that have the most value to you. So just because you have your top 24, yung 24 nyo, then you have your top 5, tapos wala yung gusto nyong strength dun sa top 5, you're always allowed to take on a lower strength and try to practice that and enact that. Because kung yun yung value na hinahabol nyo, then you're able to lift yourself up higher. Okay? You can lift those strengths up. Right? If hindi kasing natural sa inyo maging forgiving, but you actually value strength, the strength of forgiveness a lot, you can actually work on forgiveness. These are behaviors that we learn, and they are behaviors that we can still learn to enact. So it's so important, and this is my invitation for you as a coach, is that no matter what happens with the signature strengths that you get results on, you have the freedom to take ownership of strengths that you actually value. If it's in your top 5, but you don't actually value it as strongly, again, be curious first, try to apply it. Pag wala talaga, you're always able to just take on a different value altogether. And this is actually the perfect opportunity to now sort of transition to how can you actually use your strengths to develop your leadership positively. Okay, when we're going to talk about intentionality and what we value, we're going to connect all of that. Okay, so pag-usapan po natin ngayon, think of a leader o who you admire. Ano po yung quality in them do you appreciate the most? Ano po yung quality nila that you appreciate the most? So we'll have our Mentimeter link up. Okay. So again, think of a leader you appreciate, you admire, and anong quality nila yung you appreciate, the most? What do you like about them that they're able to do that? Ayan. Someone is sharing listener. Someone is sharing magaling yung people skills nila. Someone is sharing that they have compassion and integrity. They're able to walk the talk. Ayan. Meron silang willpower. They are fair. Walang favoritism. They're very decisive. Yan. Strict but somewhat funny. Constructive daw yung feedback nila. Nagde-develop sila ng tao. They're very understanding. They're very pro-employees and fair. They believe in others. They're resilient. They're able to lead without the expense of the heart. They're very loving and compassionate. They're calm and decisive. They're gentle but firm, responsible and dependable. They listen, humble, approachable, a leader who will not influence others for their personal agenda. They're brave. Okay. Optimistic, compassionate. So yan, marami tayong iba't ibang nakikitang qualities that we admire from leaders. And here's what we're taking away from that as well, is that yung mga leaders natin, nai-impluwensyahan tayo sa maraming bagay. Hindi ba? Nai-impluwensyahan tayo sa maraming bagay. One of the ways that they're able to do that is the kind of people they are. The kind of people they are. When we know that they are caring, when they are compassionate, they listen well, they are optimistic, they are firm, they are fair, they're caring. No, lahat nito pagkatao to ng mga leaders natin. And them being themselves can actually influence us. And so naturally, we want to follow and emulate the leaders that speak towards our values. Okay. So the question is, who are you as a leader? Ano pong klaseng leader yung gusto nyo maging? Gusto nyo po ba yung makita kayo ng mga tao nyo as someone who thinks well and is very insightful? Do we want to see ourselves as yung very inspiring and very that can lead the way? Do we want to see ourselves as yung mapagpuna and very panicky, no? Masyadong mabigat sa salita? Do we want them to be very strict? Do we want someone who's data-driven, who's very intelligent, who can take a lot of information and make sense of it? Gusto ba natin yung leader na kayang magdala ng pera, kayang magdala ng business, or posible mukhang pera, no? Or someone who's very diligent with their time and is very has high management skills. Now, they're able to keep watch of people and they're able to make sure that deliverables are on time. The question is, who are you as a leader? What kind of leader do you want to be? Okay? So, let me now ask you this. Balik po tayo sa Mentimeter. As a leader, how do you want your followers to feel when you lead them? Ano po yung gusto nyong maramdaman ng mga followers nyo? Ayan. You want them to feel valued? You want them to feel appreciated? You want them to feel admired, understood? You want them to feel motivated? You want them to feel empowered? No? Ayan. Ang galing. Ang galing. Nakakatuwa. No, there's so many areas of there's so many opportunities for us to connect with our followers and make them feel all of these things. Ayan, empathy or na-empathize sila. We want them to feel secure. We want them to have peace of mind. We want them to feel goal-oriented. We want them to feel supported. We want to add value to them, right? These are all the different things. Ayan, sinasabi pa nung mga nasa chat, no? Sabi ni Roel, inspired and approachable, be strong and responsible. Ayan. Okay, trusted. Ayan, ang galing. Ang dami pong wonderful shares dito, no, of the different things you want your followers to feel. Okay, so let's take now this forward energy in creating a game plan so that you can actually develop your leadership positively. Okay, so we're actually going to walk you through this exercise that you can do yourself. You can take this home. We'll provide you with a clear copy later on. No, it's you're going to be your own worksheet later, but I'll give you the example for now. Okay. So how to use this activity is you can see that it's a table from left to right. You have your task, your activity. You also have your yung column na how you want your team to feel. There's a what VS strengths fits best, and then ano yung how do you actually use the strength optimally. Okay, again, the keyword there is optimally. So let me give you an example. Okay, as a leader, my role is to be able to coach my team. So what I want people to feel whenever I'm coaching them is that they are broadened and activated with powerful action. Gusto ko mapalawak yung isipan nila and to consider a lot of pathways, and that whenever they choose a pathway, they've already understood that as ginaganahan na akong i-enact yung pathway na to. So I believe that the best strength that I can practice from my signature strength is perspective. I've taken the homework to really understand perspective, what it means for me to provide perspective. Okay. And how I want to use that optimally, okay, is I will offer different points I see being part of their coaching concern and ask how they feel about them. So meron silang dadaling coaching topic sa akin. As a coach, I'm allowed to share with them, ito yung iba-ibang pieces na nakikita ko sa problema mo. What do you think about that? And they're free to make sense of that in their own way, no? Na, nakikita ko na ito talaga yung kailangan mangyari. Nakikita ko na, oo, lahat nga nito existing and I want to be able to address all of them, right? So that's an opportunity for them to get broadened and activated with the coaching I provide for them. So that's a very concrete way that I apply that as a leader. Another, as a leader, I have to give feedback. But when I give feedbacking, I want people to feel secure with their capacity to make improvements to their mistakes. I want them to feel supported and appreciated pa rin. So one of the best practices I can do is to practice my value for forgiveness. Bakit? I'm able to give them direct feedback, but at the same time, I will not take it against them na nagkamali na sila. Especially for a big mistake in the company, I will not tell them na, hey man, I don't trust you anymore. That's very unforgiving of me. So if I were to value the strength of forgiveness and practice that optimally, I will be able to give them direct feedback and offer them the chance to correct it rather than not letting them try again or passing the task to others. Diba? That is my value as a leader, and I want people to walk away from my feedbacking sessions feeling secure with their capacity to make improvements on their mistakes. Right? So I hope that makes sense for a lot of you. We will now send over sa chat yung link nung activity sheet na to. So feel free to use that in your self-awareness and the self-learning process, no? Kung gusto nyong i-apply yan, dito nyo siya pwedeng gamitin. Okay? Take on your signature strengths and make a copy of the worksheet. Nandito po yun sa link. So when you just click that, it'll directly go to the link, no, na meron na kayong sariling yung copy. So you just click okay or yes, and then that allows you to have your personal copy of this activity. Okay? And so here's my invitation now for you. Okay, as we are about to close down the session, please try out the VIA character strengths, especially for those of you na first time nyo lang marinig ang VIA character strengths. Okay? Try it out. There's a QR code here. Pwede nyo po yung i-scan with your phone. That allows you to go directly to the survey and help you answer that. Pero hindi po ito yung ating evaluations ha. Just to be clear, this is not our evaluation. So we're also sending you this link to the VIA character strengths registration. And if you're able to go to that, that will have your survey. So at least for now, try to save nyo po yung link na to, yung VIA character strengths. Ayan. So I think we're encountering an issue with the access dun sa worksheet. So please bear with us. We will try to make changes, and then we will resend it again in the chat once it's okay. Cecile, I mentioned this earlier, wala pong payment ang VIA character strengths. Just register for free and you're allowed to take the full test. Yung results lang po yung may bayad. Meaning, you get a very specific report on your top 24 strengths ranked in order. That's free. The one with payment is an actual report of what your actionable steps are. All right? Yan. Maybe we can ask people if they can access yung ating activity sheet, yung worksheet. So please let us know if you're able to access it now. We were able to execute on those changes already, so hopefully you're able to do that. Ayan. Okay? So again, we're leaving you with another link. Ito pong VIA character strengths survey link. This is an invitation for you to try it out so that once you again have your signature strengths, you can apply this to the worksheet. Okay? And so there's one more link na I would love to share with you. And this is going to help you sort of take on yung assignment. So one other link that we are able to provide for you is itong 340 ways to enact character strengths. Okay, so let me just share that with you. We'll also be able to send this over to the chat. Okay, so these are all great resources for you to take on. So for example po, no, lumabas yung curiosity as your signature strength. Okay, curiosity. And this is a very good way to practice yung strength nyo. If you're trying to understand curiosity, maganda po tong resource because it shows you what are the movies that you can watch to showcase yung curiosity, for you to understand curiosity. And it shows you different ways to practice curiosity. Look at this example here that I have. Ayan po. Sabi dito, try to practice your expanding your knowledge in the area of your interest. Okay? Ayan o. Expand in area of interest through books, journals, magazines, TV, radio, or internet. Meron pa isa, attend a function, lecture, or colloquium of culture that differs from yours. So, maraming iba't ibang resources po na pwede nyo tingnan. And it covers all signature strengths. It covers all character strengths. No? So, merong creativity. We have open-mindedness or yung judgment, right? So, if I have judgment as my top strength, I can try to find ways to enact yung character strength na to dun sa activity. Maybe there are ways for me to take 3 actions that I'm not happy with and brainstorm better alternatives, ideas for the future. Pero i-contextualize nyo po to sa roles na ginagampanan nyo, ha? It's so important for us to use these tools correctly. So whenever you have the opportunity to get this 340 ways to use VIA character strengths, make sure that it applies to the role that you're doing. And we can always transform those ways to be more appropriate for our skill set or kung ano yung role natin sa trabaho. All right? So don't just take it as face value. These are suggestions. These are guidelines. You're able to make sense of what they are. Okay? So I want to leave you off with these 2 powerful messages when it comes to character strengths. Number 1, okay, when we are trying to live out our values, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Sabi nung iba, hinahangaan nyo yung mga taong may integridad. They were able to walk the talk. If I can actually if I can actually share my piece on that, I would love for you to walk without talking. Just exemplify the things that you truly value. Ipakita nyo. Again, they are actionable values. So embody those values. If you value kindness, act kindly. If you value leadership, act like a leader. Bring people together. If you value gratitude, enact gratitude, no? I-embody po natin 'yan. And finally, no, as a reminder for you as leaders, we are what we repeatedly do. Okay? So it's the same breath that if you are always practicing kindness, we become kind leaders. If we are always practicing forgiveness, we become forgiving leaders. So enact on the values that you want and make sure that you are consistent with it. Be intentional about those ideas because at the end of the day, people will see us for what we always do. 'Di ba? Kung lagi tayong bumabati, kung lagi tayong nagbe-bring ng positivity, we're always caring, we're always supporting our teammates. They will take that as, ay, ang supportive ng leader ko. Ay, ang bait ng leader ko. Ay, ang inspiring ng leader ko because we behave in the ways that we want others to feel. Okay, so please, I encourage you to take this exercise, try that worksheet out, and if at any point, you feel very challenged by taking on the worksheet or taking on your character strengths or trying to enact them more powerfully, nandito po ang Positive Workplaces. We have countless courses on positive leadership and able to be intentional with your work. We also provide coaching for people who want it. So please feel free to message us. No, pwede nyo po kaming lapitan and tanongin, hi, I would love to enact on the skill sets you're teaching us, but I'm struggling. Maybe I can get a coach to help me work with that. That is a perfect opportunity for us to work together individually, not just not just in your organizations, pero kahit one-on-one po, we're also able to do that. So I encourage you to expend the resources that we are providing and take us on that offer that we can work together through your organization, through one-on-ones, no, through yung through you as a client, and we believe that we as an organization should be able to provide you with the resources, but also to support you in navigating and utilizing these resources. So with that, thank you all sa pag-participate nyo sa ating conversation on character strengths. And I love to open the floor now for questions that you might have.
So much, Gio, for that very fruitful discussion about the VIA character strengths. I'm sure our learners learned a lot this afternoon. And ang dami nating pabaon, no? Na they can surely apply it right after, diba? Right after this call, you guys can answer the strengths profile. Di ba the strengths profile? Yung assessment ng VIA, so that you can also discover what your top 5 strengths are. So now let's go to the question and answer portion. I'm sure that there are a lot of you who are dying to ask Gio questions about character strengths or how you can utilize this tool as a leader for your team. So I'm sharing the link on the chat box, or you can just simply get your phone, scan the QR code that you see on the screen, or you can even just open a tab and type in www.pigeonhole.at and then enter the passcode strength. Ayan. So Gio, nag-uumapaw ng thank you sa ating chat box this
Of course,
afternoon.
I take that all in, no? Binibigyan natin yung mga listeners natin ng opportunity to practice the strength of gratitude. So, who am I to repel that strength? No, I absorb it. I thank you all for your appreciation. It always empowers us. For in that case, ayan. Okay,
I think we can.
right off the bat, yes, it's such a great question, Gabi. So thank you for clicking that. Now, can it still be called a strength if I use it for my personal agenda? Let me clarify something. There is nothing wrong with doing something for your personal gain. Okay? It is never wrong. Well-being is a personal endeavor, no? Na o gusto ko naman magpahinga, it is for our personal agenda, right? Being able to rest and recuperate and exercise, these are all personal agendas. There's nothing wrong with that. What we want to be careful of is that in the pursuit of our personal agenda, is it in support of others as well, or nakakabawas ba siya sa ibang tao? Okay? We have to be mindful of that. Kasi one of the things that we know is when we chase after our own well-being, you get to be the best version of yourself. So whenever you face other people, the personal agenda to work on your well-being, nakikinabang ibang tao because you're giving others your best version of yourself. So when you use your strength for your own gain, for example, for forgiveness, no? Gusto mo magpatawad para yung sarili mo but so that you can live happily with life, go ahead by all means. But if we are using that as an excuse to prioritize our personal agenda and cause harm to others, or not even think about how it might cause harm to others, then it becomes a problem. So being critical is not a problem. Being critical can also transform a lot of conversations. But if you are pursuing being critical just for your personal gain, na no, I want to exhaust every opportunity here to see lahat ng options, pero kailangan maging tactical tayo. But at the same time, you are disabling the team to enact on something. Hindi na nakakapagbigay ng input yung mga tao because you're too critical of everything that they're bringing on. Then it becomes harmful. The beautiful thing about strengths is that we can pursue them for their own purposes. But again, the keyword is optimal use. We have to pay attention to when it becomes overbearing for others to take on. Diba? May power na masyadong malakas. Kung si Superman, tinutulak niya ng walang pakundangan yung eroplano, diba? It will cause harm to others, right? It will cause harm to others. So we have to pay attention to that. Okay?
Yes. And
All
I think
right.
we can maybe answer two more.
Yes,
just
two more.
the time.
Definitely.
So I think this is actually a good question, Gio. Are these strengths nature? And if nurture, is there a way for me to improve on my strengths that are not on my top 5? So that
Yeah. Yeah. So the reality of it is that we are always both a product of our nature and our nurture. We know that a big part of who we are as people is nature, pero hindi rin hindi what we also have realities in are that we live in a community. We live in an environment where people outside of our homes and ourselves can influence us. Our teachers, our workplaces, the communities we belong to, our neighborhoods, iba-iba yung pinagkukunan natin ng influence. So as much as nature is very strong in influencing a lot of our starter traits and what is natural within us, just like I expressed, it is also nurture that helps to build out those things that are natural within us. Right? If it was natural for you to forgive, but you grew up in an environment where it was striken out of you na hindi ka dapat masyado magpagpatawad, you will start to learn not to value forgiveness, right? So it's the same thing. So how we want to think about that now is that yung mga yung listahan natin, yung 340 ways to use character strengths, they don't just apply to your signature strengths, they can apply to every strength. The list is complete. It's 10 actionable steps for every character strengths, at least even more. And you can use some of the examples. For example, curiosity or self-regulation. Katulad ko, hindi yan mataas for me as a character strength. If I don't see it in my top strength and I want that to be more of my top strength, I can look at the ways to apply self-regulation and then apply those. So there's the resource that we provided for you, the 340 ways to use character strengths. They are very much available for you to use. Okay?
Yeah, so that's a challenge for you guys to go through the document and maybe challenge yourself to do any of the actionable items, diba, within the week. Ayan.
Yes.
Gio, I also am very curious about this. Na how do we
Mhm.
not paano tayo hindi maaabuso because of our strength? Kasi 'di ba,
Hmm.
mga leaders na if they see that particular strength in you, like yung mga roles or tasks where you are good at, halimbawa yung pagiging facilitator or leader, ikaw na lang palagi. So how can we guard against that?
Uh, to me, that is fascinating because I think this is in a context of a different strength. Strength in the sense of kung magaling kang mag-analyze ng data, then you do. But like we also talk about how, in contrast to Nikki's conversation, there are strengths that we also have that deplete us.
Yes.
'Di ba? Meron siyang ibang layer eh. But for example, if I was always asked to forgive and I value forgiveness, when will that ever deplete me? When will
Yeah.
that ever feel like it's abusing me to be forgiving? But I also recognize this na, 'di ba? Meron tayong overuse of strength. So when we have to enact that, when others are expecting us to implement that on every level, it also becomes a very parang degrading exercise for us. Kung magaling ako magpatawad and I value forgiveness, and then someone who I feel like I'm not ready to forgive yet is telling me, uy, di ba strength mo yan, magpatawad ka naman. I'm going to feel like they are parang manipulating me in that sense. So one way I believe that to prevent this is more on the scale of being very clear where to exercise your uh, where to draw the line. It's basically boundary building. No, na hey, I know it's my strength, but I get to practice that how I want to. And so even if you tell me that this is very important for you, for me to practice, and you need support in that, I also feel that you should have the opportunity to not have to practice that all the time, because again, you are the expert of that strength because strength mo yan. So you get to say na, I don't think it's appropriate for me to use that in this situation. I don't think that this is no longer serving my strength the best way possible, because merong iba ding opportunities for others to give that. But also, I guess what can also be helpful here is you try to also identify others who share the same strength with you, and maybe you can create a coalition of support for those people who need it. If there are a lot of people who need a lot of perspective in the organization, you can always form a coalition of like, oh, ito kaming mga kami yung mga lahat may perspective. Maybe if it's not me that who can provide that, maybe others can be also doing that, because there are other elements to practicing strengths din naman. There's energy, there's availability, there is concern for your strength, or yung concern for your stress and your health. There are many things that do not allow us to always practice our strengths fully, but when we know that other people share the same strengths as us, we can almost invite them to be in support of us. Then, hey, I know na you are a fellow leader, a fellow person who values leadership. Maybe we can offset some of the responsibility of leading. Instead of me, pwede ko rin siyang ipasa sa iyo. So it's finding strength in others to also utilize, so that hindi naaapakan yung capacity mo to be a leader. Gabby, can we just check the questions just a little bit lang? I just want to make sure na we're not missing anything very important here. All right. So maybe just to quickly lang, since I can address this quite easily, yung what if my perceived strength is not the quality of others see in me? This is tawag dito, this is a very easy way to think about it, because typically, for example, sa akin, humor, when I found out that humor was actually a value of mine, there are circles of my friends who think that I'm funny, but there are also my closest friends who could just not laugh at my jokes. And it's not about you being good at that strength necessarily and that people walk away from it, pero it's your value of enacting that strength. So if you value humor, hindi naman ibig sabihin nun nakakatawa ka dapat. Ibig sabihin nun na gagawa ka ng actions para ma-embody yung nagpapatawa ka. So you don't have to be funny, but you will try to always find things humorous. One of our favorite examples, we used to work with our favorite employees. She is a very funny person, but meron din siyang times na she will become very may tendency siya to also share puns na not easily lands on others. So she definitely has the value for humor, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is always absorbed as funny. So I think there is that contention na we don't have to always be good at the strengths that we have, that people are impressed by our strength, no? Even in the capacity to forgive, in the capacity to be kind, people don't have to think of us as kind. But when we know that we are enacting on values that show kindness, then it is enough for us to say na, that is my strength. That is something that I actually believe in. All right. So, ayun. I think that's all the time that we have for now, no, Gabby?
Yes. And don't worry about the other questions, Gio. I'm sure you're gonna love doing a short video to answer these questions as well. Especially na very important talaga tong topic on strength. So again, thank you so much. So we'd like to invite you, if you enjoyed listening to Nikki and Gio this afternoon. John will be talking about enhancing team performance as a strengths coach using the Gallup Strengths Finder framework on May 3, 2023. So we hope that you can block that in your calendars, and we'd love to see you there with John. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook. Yung mga sagot ni Gio, we promise na we're going to try and post it on our social media pages so that we can answer those questions. And last but not least, we're now sharing with you the evaluation form for this particular activity. So again, don't forget to check 10. Okay? Tignan nyo yung title ng form if that's the title of the webinar this afternoon. Make sure that you put in the correct email and the correct name so that you will receive your e-certificate right after you click submit. And so again, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. The evaluation form will close in 30 minutes. So kung ano man yung oras ngayon, add 30 minutes to that and Joyce will be closing the evaluations for this afternoon.